Muammar Gaddafi was a Libyan revolutionary leader and politician who ruled Libya for over 40 years. One of his big dreams was to unite Africa and create a powerful, cohesive continent, but as fate had it, he never accomplished his mission. Today we'll be looking into the life of Muammar Gaddafi, his rise to power, the major economic reforms he brought to Libya, and his fall. Stay tuned. Muammar Gaddafi was born on June 7, 1942, in a tent near Qasr Abu Hadi, a rural area outside Sirte town in western Libya. He was the only son of his parents and the youngest of 4 siblings. He was brought up in a poor family that belongs to the Bedouins, the nomadic desert-dwelling Arabs. His father earned a living as camel and goat herder. Unlike his illiterate family, Gaddafi was lucky to be educated. He was first taught by a local Islamic teacher and later in the elementary school in the Libyan town of Sirte. At that time, education wasn't free in Libya, but his father had hope in Gaddafi, believing that education would be of great help to him. During his school days, he slept in the mosque, and on holidays, he walked 20 kilometers home to see his parents. Later, his family moved to the Libyan town of Saba, where his father worked as a caretaker for a tribal leader while Gaddafi attended secondary school in the same town. As a youth, Gaddafi witnessed a series of events that took place in the Arab world, from the 1948 Arab-Israeli War to the 1952 Egyptian Revolution and the Suez Canal crisis of 1956. At the secondary school, the majority of the teachers were Egyptians, while Gaddafi's political admirer was the former Egyptian president Abdel Nasser. Nasser pushed for Arab nationalism and rejection of Western colonialism, neo-colonialism, and Zionism. While in school, Gaddafi became an Arab nationalist. He criticized Idris, the king of the United Kingdom of Libya, whom he accused of being a puppet ruler of the Western powers. In October 1961, he led students in demonstration where several students were arrested and he was expelled from Saba town alongside his family. However, this never broke his ambitions. It was just the beginning, as the next Libyan ruler was in the making. Gaddafi went on to join the University of Libya in Benghazi, where he studied history. He soon dropped out of the university, joined the military in 1963, and began his training at the Royal Military Academy. Gaddafi and other Libyans believed that it was only through the army that they could lead a successful revolution or coup. At that time, the Libyan army was being trained by the British military, something that really angered Gaddafi, who viewed the British as imperialists. His anger towards them made Gaddafi not to study English language, which was a requirement, and he was consequently rude to his trainers. Despite being accused of being involved in the assassination of the military academy's commander in 1963, Gaddafi managed to graduate from the Royal Military Academy. In 1964, alongside other loyal soldiers, they formed the Central Committee of the Free Officers Movement, a revolutionary group named after the former Egyptian President Abdel Nasser. They took a portion of their salaries as soldiers to fund the organization. Soon, Gaddafi started traveling across Libya gathering intelligence. Unknowingly, the government considered him as a little threat, therefore ignoring him. In 1965, he was a communications officer in the Army Signal Corps, and in April 1966, he went to England for further training. There, he was forced to study English for a 9-month course while he was training. He completed his training and went back to Libya more confident and proud of his values, ideals, and social character. In the late 1960s, the King Idris government started becoming unpopular across the country. This was after the discovery of oil in the country, and the Western powers were suddenly fighting for control of Libyan land. Idris' government became increasingly corrupt, and many Libyans felt like things had gotten worse rather than better. Things even got more worse following Egypt's defeat by Israel in the 1967 Six-Day War. Arab nationalism was increasingly popular, while King Idris' government was seen as a pro-Israeli due to its alliance with the Western powers. Protests rocked Libya, primarily in Tripoli and Benghazi, with Libyan oil workers shutting oil terminals in solidarity with Egypt. This chaos laid the perfect foundation for Muammar Gaddafi to launch a coup. In mid-1969, King Idris flew out of the country to enjoy his summer in Turkey and Greece. Gaddafi, along with his loyal soldiers, seized the opportunity and launched Operation Jerusalem, a move to overthrow the country's monarchy system. On 1 September 1969, Gaddafi led a bloodless coup with just 70 soldiers. They took over airports, police depots, radio stations, and the government offices in Tripoli and Benghazi. They met no serious resistance and wielded little violence against the monarchists. Gaddafi went on to announce, through radio, the foundation of the Libyan Arab Republic and proclaimed an end to the reactionary and corrupt regime. The Central Committee of the Free Officers went on to form a 12-member Revolutionary Command Council, with Gaddafi as its chairman. He went on to become the de facto head of state, appointed himself the rank of colonel, and became the commander-in-chief of the Libyan Defense Forces. The RCC went on with the intentions of consolidating the revolutionary government and modernizing the country. One of Gaddafi's most significant achievements was the nationalization of Libya's oil industry. This move in the early 1970s transformed Libya's economy, bringing in massive revenues that funded ambitious social and infrastructure projects. Libya saw substantial improvements in healthcare, education, and social services. Free healthcare and education became cornerstone of his regime, leading to better public health and higher literacy rates. Gaddafi's regime embarked on grand infrastructure projects, the most notable being the Great Man-Made River. This colossal engineering project aimed to supply fresh water to Libya's arid regions, showcasing Gaddafi's vision for transforming the nation. His policies also promoted the empowerment of women, granting them more rights and opportunities in education and in employment compared to many other countries in the region at that time. As a staunch advocate for African unity, Gaddafi invested heavily in the continent, supporting the African Union and various development projects. His vision was to foster greater cooperation and economic independence for African nations. Despite these achievements, Gaddafi's rule was marred by human rights abuses, authoritarianism, and international isolation. His support for revolutionary movement and alleged involvement in terrorism made him a contentious figure on the global stage. Under Gaddafi's watch, Libya supplied arms to the Irish Republican Army, sent Libyan troops to help Idi Amin in the Uganda-Tanzania war, and gave financial aid to the Palestine Liberation Organization, Sierra Leone Revolutionary United Front, and the African National Congress, among his other groups. During his regime, suspected opponents were imprisoned without charges, elections were non-existent, and public executions were common. Living conditions deteriorated significantly, leading to multiple coup attempts due to widespread frustration with corruption, violence, and stagnation. The fall of Gaddafi came in 2011 following the start of a civil uprising that began in February of the same year as part of the broader Arab Spring. The initial protest, driven by widespread dissatisfaction with Gaddafi's 4-decade rule marked by corruption, human rights abuses, and economic mismanagement, quickly escalated into a full civil war. Rebel forces, with the support of NATO airstrikes and international backing, gradually gained ground against Gaddafi's loyalists. After months of intense fighting, Gaddafi was captured and killed by rebel forces in his hometown of Sirte in October 2011. This brought an end to his authoritarian regime and initiated a period of tumultuous transition for Libya.